Yeah, let me do one more. I always like to do one more. As long as we're talking about micro adjusters, at the end, let's do it this way. Who needs a micro adjuster, or do I want a micro adjuster, or why do I need? Let's talk about all of them. Okay, what a micro adjuster does, it gives you the full range of control easily on your fingers, a dial in range of control. Now, why would you want to use that? Well, the Wicked Edge system comes with Wicked Edge diamond stones and other stones, which are all pretty much the same dimensions, the same thickness. So when you work, and I don't say it, please understand, the set and forget is not a derogatory. It's just an encompassing term. When you want to use the divots, the delineations, the marks, and clamp your knife and just associate that angle position with that knife for that clamping position, you will achieve a very sharp knife, a mirror polish edge. It is just done at an angle that is not referenced to any measuring device. It is referenced to its position on the Wicked Edge. When you put a cube on the stone, that gives you reference to a measuring device. And then you can see what the difference is. See, for Wicked Edge, it's when the knife edge is 5/8 of an inch above, then that angle and this delineation correlate fairly closely, within probably 1/4 of a degree. That's how they're made. That's how the delineations for 5/8 of an inch. Well, we don't clamp knives such to get them 5/8 of an inch above the jawline so that it matches. We clamp a knife how we choose to clamp it to best sharpen it, and then we set the angles off of it. Well, when you start trying to use these angles for a wide range, if you want the angle to make sense, you want to know what the relative angle is. It's, relative to gravity, your position on Earth, you zero it out. So now it's relative to the center line, because the center line is perpendicular to the base where you zeroed it out, trying to keep everything simple but explain the relative. So now we have a cube that we can put on there and see how the two compare. Well, that's great, but without the way the adjusters, micro adjusters that I've worked with my friends to make available for all the different models, they give you that full range throw in all the different models in some way or another, with your brackets or old brackets and the screw kits, or the old Gen 3 Pro before this that had a screw that went in the front to lock the threads. Any of them, these things work, and it lets you dial it in. Okay, why do you want to dial it in? Well, it allows you now to not be concerned about the stones. Let me tell you what happens. You use a Wicked Edge, even the most basic one. You get your stones broken in. You sharpen a few knives, you figure it out, you get the knack for it. Then you start to scrutinize your work, and you want to know, why is it not as good as you expect it to be, and what's wrong with the Wicked Edge? So then I started looking for all the shortcomings, the screws that I didn't get adjusted just right, the point on the bracket, I didn't get it set in the divot just right. Each and every time you move it, you got to get it. So it was a lot of different things that I had to take care of. And I would say, man, I wish my wicked edge was easier for me to take care of it. And that's how these things came about. The micro adjusters now with the dial it in, it didn't matter the clamping. You could make it work with just the cube and position it where you needed it to be and dial it in. But because of that, now I could use all the different whetstones, and I could use a whetstone at the start that was this thick, and one in the middle that was this thick, and one at the end that was that thick. And with the gross angle and the micro adjusters and a cube, it didn't matter because I used the cube to set the same relative angle. So by giving me that control and that locking feature that eliminated all my error points and let me find a reference point that was the same, it just followed suit for me. So that's why I wanted the micro adjusters. That's why you may want them and you may need them, because what's going to happen for the wicked edge user that gets it, that sees the mirror polished edge and that, cuts himself because he didn't realize how sharp it was. It makes a scary sharp knife once you get it. Once your stones are broken in, I'm repeating myself, once you get the strokes down and you really enjoy using it, that's when you start scrutinizing yourself. And that's when I needed the micro adjusters to get the angles, because by that time I was working with a microscope and really scrutinizing my work. So why the micro adjusters? Why I make such a big deal? Because I can't be without it, because I'm utilizing in every different wicked edge that I have behind me with all these different kits, micro adjusters and stable risers and whatever. I'm getting the most out of it and being able to dial in each of these different setups to work with anything that I want to work with. Thanks.